Oh, all right. So present, share, Discord, share. All right. Okay. Let me give you the link so that you can forever have the link to today's stream. Copy, mute. Where are you guys? I guess you're here. Text and paste. Oops. Paste, enter. All right. So that's the stream. I don't know why. Why doesn't it display like a normal YouTube thingy? Weird. Maybe it's suppressed. Yeah. So you want to discuss the proposition? Are you
Yeah,
there? Oh.
yeah. So
Mhm.
the claim is that you're racist if you want Jews and Arabs to live in separate countries, right?
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
so here's the problem with that proposition. Do
Mhm.
you not think that there are reasons that you could want them to live in separate countries that are not related to their race?
No. No. I mean, give me an example.
So let's say you just know that it's the case that if these two races are near each other, that they're going to fight.
That's
You know
racist.
this for a fact,
Wait, that's
right?
right. You admitting to be racist. I don't have a problem. Just you're starting with you claiming these are races and you're separating races. So you're admitting to be a racist. I'm just letting you know, right? You can deny or admit. The you just conceded the proposition. Um,
Let's see. Racist. A person who believes a particular race is superior to others. I don't see how that is saying any race is superior to another. It's more like a descriptive claim about what will happen with a race. So, for example, if I make a descriptive claim about black people and I say they probably have a better ability to stay outside in the sunlight, you wouldn't say that's racist just because I'm defining a characteristic of a race, right? So I don't see how it's the case that making any descriptive claim about a race in particular, let alone two races, is going to be somehow racist, assuming that you're operating under that definition I just gave.
right. There's a problem with the definition because, like if you think that whites and blacks should be segregated as they were under what's known, I think, as the Jim Crow laws, as far as we define things, that is racist. So yeah, there is a problem with your definition. So if you're going by that definition, then then you did not concede the debate. But if you're going, but I was, the colloquial definition of racism is separate but equal, as the Supreme Court, I think, decided for as long as Jim Crow laws were legal. That you can segregate blacks out of your community. So it depends on the definition. So by the colloquial definition, that's racist. And by your definition, I agree that you would not be racist.
So if the whatever the colloquial definition is, um, I don't know how it's going to make a symmetry breaker between how I judge the difference between saying separate Palestinians and Jews and separate, people with white skin and black skin, right?
Well,
Because the difference with Jim Crow laws is, for starters, it wasn't just separation. It was also um, laws that why can't I think of the word? It was it was also like the laws were
Discrimination.
discriminatory towards black people. So that actually is the bigger problem, really. Now, as far as the segregation in of itself, let's say that it was absolutely the case. You just knew for a fact it was descriptively true that you have some place on Earth
Mhm,
where there's two tribes of people fighting, right?
mhm.
They could be black and white, or they can be, like black and a different shade of black, right? And if you know that they're absolutely going to go to war with each other constantly, and the only way to stop this is by separating them, would it be racist to separate them?
By the definition, we're going again. It depends on the definition. But let me ask you this. I mean, do you think separate but equal, going back to Jim Crow, do you think that would be racist? If we went today and we segregated everyone exactly as we did during the Jim Crow era, the US would do that, would you define the
There's
US then as racist? Would you define the
no,
US?
so it's
So was the
no,
hold on.
no.
Let,
I
let,
would
let
I
me
would define
let me just clarify the question. So, would you say that the US under Jim Crow was racist?
yes.
Okay, so I then name the trait. What's the symmetry breaker between Arab, Israeli, whatever, and blacks and whites, Jim Crow? What's the symmetry breaker? I don't see it.
There's many symmetry breakers. The first one is the
Mhm.
reason for segregation. They weren't segregating to prevent harm among communities. It was actually harmful to black people for them not to be able to integrate into the society. The second one is that those black people were taken on slave
Well,
ships
one
to
at a
the
time,
US,
one at a
right?
time, one at a time, one at a time. So you're saying that, okay, what name the trait? So what's the symmetry breaker? Let's go to the first one. So
Like I said,
you're saying,
it's the reason that they were segregated.
so you realize that in Israel right now, there are entire villages and actually entire cities that are inhabited by Arabs that define themselves as Palestinians. And and they live completely at peace with the Jews. There is Christian Palestinians, there is Muslim Palestinians, I'm sure there are some atheists, and according to the Palestinian Convention, there is Jewish Palestinians, whatever. So there's Jews and Arabs and Christians and Muslims all living together at peace, at in harmony all over Israel proper right now for many years. It's very stable. Like
Okay.
there is a city called Tel Aviv, and next to it there is a city called Jaffa, whatever. There is a city right next to it, which is, as far as I know, it's like mostly Palestinian, and the Jews from Tel Aviv go into this city all the time for, it's like it's like a tourist city. It's like it's a beautiful city, and they go out to eat, especially on Friday night. So on Friday night, the all restaurants in Israel basically are closed. A lot of restaurants and everything is basically closed. So a lot of Israelis go into the city, the atheist ones. They end up going there for for just to have dinner, just to for clubs. Like the clubs there are packed. Anyway, they live in complete harmony. So, where did I go? Who? Wait, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I
And
hear you. Well,
that's just one example. I mean there is a Palestinian in the Supreme Court of Israel right now. There are Palestinians in the Congress, whatever the Parliament of Israel. There is Palestinians fully functional. They're not murdering each other. So Gaza Gaza used to be a very normal city in the past. Like Jews went in and out all the time into Gaza. It was just like every other city today. Something happened. It wasn't always like this. And basically, what happened is segregation. Actually, what you're getting is the result of segregation. The Jews pulled out, and Gaza went
Yeah, Mr.
downhill.
Slave.
Yeah,
Have you seen what the Palestinians did to the some of the people in Israel? They burnt them alive. They
it's not.
handcuffed them
It's
together.
not. It's not the Palestinians. You're conflating. It's not the Palestinians. It's a very specific group.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's not the Palestinians. We heard one Russian, at least one
I'm
Russian
just
was.
saying the Palestinian.
You shouldn't. It's not the
I don't really give a fuck, dude.
No.
Anyways,
Yes.
yeah, have you seen what they did?
Sure, of course I saw what they did. This is,
Have you seen what they've done to babies and
yes.
women and just everyone
This
in general?
this is the result of
Why would it be racist to
no,
separate them?
hold on. This is the result of segregation. This is the result of separation. Gaza has been separated for many years now from Israel. This is the result. The result is the
So what are you
vacuum.
saying is racist?
Wait, what?
You're saying it's racist to that we're
The, s-
segregating them.
the fact that the Jews, the Israeli government decided to evict the Jews from the Gaza Strip, that was racist, and the result is the violence. The result is that a vacuum was created, and Iran now created a terror base right next to Israel, and from which they are
These
straight.
Palestinians would still have that fucking stupid religion. So,
It's not the it's,
so you might as well just let them die in war. Like,
the religion,
they're a waste of space.
the religion, the Muslim religion is a very popular religion.
I'm just hoping that Israel, like other people, pair up with Israel and just kill all of them. You know?
No, no. All
Yeah.
over the
What?
world,
You want them alive?
all
What
over
the
the
fuck?
world, Jews and Muslims live at peace all over the world. You don't hear, most of the time, you don't hear
Okay.
of any issue, especially in the United. I
Okay.
know I'm in the United
And
States. What?
and
So there's no reason to kill anyone. That's like saying
wait, what? Wait. So these people, the only way to stop them from killing the Israels and shit is to kill them. You
no,
can't just like
no, that's not
give
true.
them love.
You don't need look. You look. What you did was you canceled them. The Israeli government
Yeah, fuck
canceled.
those people.
No, no. When you cancel someone, give him, her enough time, they will lose their minds and they will come back to bite you in the butt, in the ass. You cannot
Yeah,
cancel
and that's not
people.
justified.
But what the Israeli government did to the Gaza population is cancel. They canceled them. They said, okay, you're canceled. They closed them off. They sealed them off and
Move to a new
separate.
country then.
What?
Move to a new country.
Who are you saying this to?
You just the people that live in the fucking Gaza. Move to a different country, right?
Look, why should they? They're not complaining. They're not complaining. But what happened? Look, technically, it might have worked out, but the Iranian government got involved. There was a vacuum was created, and now you have an Iranian base in Gaza. Gaza has become a military base for Iran. And
Yeah,
Iran,
fuck those people.
yeah, Iran just wants to
Kill them.
destabilize the world.
Yeah, just kill the entire country, Iran.
You, you don't have to. So,
Just
okay,
nuke
so,
it
okay, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to nuke
once.
anyone. Look, you have to understand the cause and effect. You have to understand the mechanics.
Just get it over and done with so it never happens again. For the greater good.
No, 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 but you don't have to kill anyone, and if you don't understand the mechanics,
You
you
don't
will
have to kill anyone. What do you mean?
if
Yes,
you
you
don't
do.
understand if you don't understand the mechanics of what's going on, then you'll kill everyone, but soon after you'll get the same problems again. You want
Well,
to
don't kill
understand.
them. Just keep killing people that create problems. Like, I don't
But yeah,
understand the issue.
yeah, okay, but you don't have to. You don't have to kill, kill,
What do
kill.
you? What do you do then?
So what you do is exactly what you do when you have a child that misbehaves.
But these people aren't human anymore. Like that,
That's not true. If you define them as such, then that's how they will behave. That's exactly, that is segregation. When you
you can
say,
literally see what they how they their actions. Like, what do you mean?
look, what they did, it's terrible. I agree, but these people are brainwashed from the age of 0.
That's not a justification.
Okay, I don't, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if a person is brainwashed from the time he's born, then what do you want from him? How can you blame him? He's been brainwashed to be a murderer, to
Who
be a
brainwashed him?
well, we know if there's I don't know if there still are YouTube videos of the propaganda that the children are submitted to from the age of 0 in the Gaza
So who are
Strip.
the people that brainwashed these people?
Um, I don't know them by name, but
Or who are they? Can you like
but
identify somewhat like who this
you
group is?
you don't have to. All you need to do is when the Israeli government sees this, they need to.
So basically,
Mhm.
you're saying they're brainwashed, so they don't know. So when someone's killing, raping babies, raping little kids, raping women, you're telling me that it's not their problem because they're just brainwashed. Like there's no like
The,
thought
que-
of like
the
this is
question
wrong
is
or like
the question is you don't need to blame anyone. When you have a child that is
what?
misbehaving, there's no time to blame. You need to understand the mechanics. Why
We're
is the
talking about a child, dude.
It doesn't matter. A child or an adult, it's the same thing. With a child, it's easier to explain and to fix it. But even with an adult, it's fixable. There's no difference. So,
How do we fix these people?
so let's start with a child. So if you have a child that misbehaves, then if you ever seen the super nanny shows, then the super nanny goes into the house,
What?
she records the activity, and then she analyzes it, and then she shows the mechanics, and she shows, and the same thing with the dog whisperer. It's very similar. And
So that's what
so you
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 want
you you
the
just need.
Israels
Yeah, it's very
to do.
simple. I mean, I can tell them we've already discussed what needs to be done. So, for example, the brainwashing of
But they're
children.
literally bombing Israel like currently right now. They're killing people right now. They're holding them hostage. Like
Yeah, so we can, it
if
looks.
you did that, they're just gonna take advantage of that and just keep going to war. Like
Look, you have to understand the mechanics, and then you have to see how to implement a solution. But first, you need to understand the mechanics.
that. What's the solution? Tell me practically what we do right now.
Um, I mean, that's a good question. What to do right now? I didn't think about that, but
Really?
I mean, what you need to do right now is extract or kill. If you don't have a choice, then you have to kill the leaders who are manipulating the people
Yeah.
to misbehave, who are
That's what I'm
brainwashing.
saying.
Excuse me?
That's what I'm saying.
But that's individuals. You have to go after individuals. Of course, you have to go after, the headquarters and stuff. You have to
What about
go.
the people that are currently killing like innocent people in Israel? Like,
Yeah, right now, if you
what do we
have
do
no
with those
choice,
people?
you kill them, and if
Exactly.
there's civilian casualties, yeah, it's a problem. But in the long run, Israel has to reconquer Gaza, and establish and put the flag. This is Israel, and no more separation. If the Jews want to come and live in Gaza, it's fine. And if people from Gaza want to move anywhere, it's fine. If they commit
People from
crime,
Gaza aren't moving to Israel.
yeah, it's fine. If they first have to salute to the flag, they have to renounce any animosity towards Israel. They have to pledge allegiance, to the flag of Israel. They have to become good Israeli citizens. They have to do this in public. They
But
have
how do you
to.
know they're going to do that? Right?
It's the first step, First, renounce your affiliation to any terror, any whatever
So
terroristic
would
act.
you let the Gaza? So where do you live right now? Oh, you live in New York. So
I'm
would
in
you
New
let the
York.
Gaza just move to New York?
Yes, of course. These are normal people. Some of them have been brainwashed. I mean, they're all brainwashed. But when these people come to anywhere else, as far as I know, look, they live in Gaza in peace. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't live in peace anywhere else in the world. A lot of them are actually dual citizens.
Have you seen the videos where the
Yes.
Gazian people are arguing with the Christian?
Or
They're
what?
fucking brain dead.
They're doing what with the Christians?
They're pushing the Christians and shit that are preaching.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I know that.
They're all just brain dead. Like just
Okay, so it's the job of the Israeli government for this not to happen. Israel is a democracy, and Israel needs to punish criminals.
like how can you fix people that have been brainwashed? Like I don't know. I think if you
Um,
just kill them, they'll reincarnate and then they'll forget all their brainwashing, right?
no, no.
Isn't
Look,
that just an easier way?
no, no. I think when a lot of the like there's a person called Son of Hamas. You know the story
Yeah.
of Son of Hamas?
I couldn't care about fucking Hamas.
No, this is very important. So the actual son of the current leader of the Hamas, he is he became Catholic or Christian. He left
Yeah.
Gaza. He
Why would you
lives
become Catholic? That's satanic as well.
no,
Yes, it is.
no, and even Islam is not satanic.
Islam is the most satanic, but Catholic is just disguised satanic.
No, 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 no. There's no problem with religions. Religions are just a
Yes,
symptom.
there is.
Religions,
Yes, there is.
no.
Especially Islam's right in your face. It's a completely satanic religion.
No, no. I know plenty of do I know any Muslims? I haven't known any Muslims. I mean, I speak to Muslims. There's Muslims on the Discord server that we interact with, and they seem to be fine people.
No,
I
no,
don't
I
s-
didn't say them. I said the religion.
the religion.
The
w-
religion itself, not the
w-
fucking people.
what's wrong with the religion?
Have
What
you not seen what it says you can do in the religion? Like what?
I mean, you could say that about the woke religion. You could say that about
Yeah,
communism.
I would agree. The woke religion's bad too.
Yeah, okay, but so you have to debate people and
There's
discuss.
bad
And
stuff in Christianity. There's bad stuff in all these religions
yeah, so you
because
need
they're
to
made so long ago by fucking people punching rocks and shit together. I don't know, some
fine.
shit like that.
So the solution is
We gotta
definitely
fucking, we gotta innovate. We gotta actually change. You know, we gotta get rid of these autistic religions, right? We
um
gotta actually
but
create a new religion. It's called ethics.
no, 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 no. You
Called
have
ethics,
to no, you have to debate people.
logic.
No, the last thing you want to do is segregate from people. What you want to do is integrate. Everyone needs to live with everyone else. The last thing you want to do is segregate. That's not good. That's like echo chambers. Yeah,
I think we also need to get rid of religion as well.
fine. Only through debate. You have to debate people, explain to them why you think their path is
It's
incorrect or
not going to do
whatever.
anything.
Okay,
You have to. The only way to get rid of the religions is to literally, like, debating is not going to do anything. You have to do physical things,
that's exactly
physical things
that's
in the
the
world.
last. That's exactly what you think is wrong with their religion. Notice that you're now
Not
just
to
as
interrupt, but I feel it necessary to mention that 53% of Palestine supports Hamas, which does constitute a majority. So
yeah.
Yeah,
They've
that's
been
insane. That's
okay.
insane.
That's fine. That's you have to deal with it.
That
You
is
have
not fucking fine. These people, they've got like they're so brainwashed. Like, what are you supposed to
the,
do?
and don't let them vote. If this is the don't let them
If they're
vote.
in the country, they support fucking Hamas. Like, what do you mean?
So that's basically if they become citizens of Israel,
This is like
they are
way worse than Nazis.
okay. So if you give them citizenship and then you ask them, "Are you pro Hamas?" and they say yes, they need to be executed because they're saying we're
At
going.
least the fucking Nazis, right? Like, they were trying to kill them as efficiently as possible, right? The Hamas are actually having fun, like they're like seeing them like suffer and everything, and just raping everybody and burning them alive.
No, I don't know if they were. Okay, there's no point in discussing what happened. What happened was, they
There
live in.
definitely is a point discussing what happened.
Look, you have people living in complete seclusion, brainwashed from childhood, and then they get
What are you
out.
supposed to do with these people then? They're brainwashed.
I would say, you know, first of all, stop the brainwashing. The brainwashing has to
How
stop.
do you stop the brainwashing?
You
How do
kill,
you
you
how
stop.
do you fix them?
So anyone who um what do you call it when you try to convince someone to commit a crime?
coerce.
No, no, not through coercion, through brainwashing. Like the leaders who are tempting the youth to hate Israel
So
and to
guess what, dude?
excuse me?
What if I
Grooming.
told you brainwashing is not a justification because the fact that they're agreeing with the brainwashing, it's still their fault.
Here's my problem. Whatever fault is thought there to be, it's like, why wouldn't you want to separate them? Because if they're not separated, instead wars happen and then people have to be killed. If you separate them, just go back to the drawing board and say, this was a horrible idea. A group of people that historically hate each other, that constantly end up on battlefronts because of this Gaza Strip, all this drama is caused. It's like, instead of that, just separate them. Like, fuck. It's such a simple solution that eliminates the harm.
Well, but that's you're skipping this. Like as an engineer, you skipped the step of the analysis and you just jump to a solution. You're just assuming, you're asserting the problem. You missed the discussion where we proved what the mechanics of the problem, what's the actual cause. You just completely ignored it, and you're skipping to a solution that I can prove is the opposite of what you should do. As I said,
Whatever the mechanics of the problem are, is it true or not that there would be much less conflict between these two people if we separated them?
no,
Like, you can't have conflict, for example, of two friends that hate each other if they're stuck on opposite sides of the planet. They're not going to be able to do anything to each other, right? So it's like
no, no, you're
the
wrong.
simple solution of just
No,
shoving them both
no,
to the side is
no, no, you're
no.
wrong. No, because as I explained, Gaza is a case study of separation, of segregation. That's exactly what Gaza is. Gaza is
Why don't we just have a one world government then?
a one world government. Well, we're not going that far right now. Right now, we're
Why
just
not?
this. I mean, I don't think it's good to have one world government because
Oh,
you need to have like in Darwinistic evolution, you need to try out different forms of government simultaneously so that they can compete with each other. That's the idea of the
interesting.
founders of the 50 states. That the 50 states are 50 Darwinistic experiments in in law, and people move from state to state all the time, and and that's how states know that they're good or bad, and they end up competing with each other.
Mm,
So you don't want a single government because then you lose. That's why communism fails, because in communism the government controls. You have a central command and control of the economy, and so there's no competition. You need actually to allow competition. You need to have different companies, small, big, this idea, every crazy idea needs to be tested all simultaneously, and companies need to fail, and states need to fail, and countries need to collapse, empires need to collapse. Otherwise, you have a stale solution and humanity is doomed, because
interesting.
you need to let Darwinistic evolution do its magic, and governments have to evolve, and sometimes they can't evolve because they grow old. That's why empires have to die, because as they grow older, they become slower and sluggish, and they cannot change, and they have to die. So you have the entire mechanics of Darwinism is very important for empires and for countries and for states and for cities and for religions and for philosophies and for ideas. You have to let everything run simultaneously. You need to let us right now have this debate, and other people are having their debates. Everyone has to continuously try out everything simultaneously. Otherwise, the viruses and the cancers are going to destroy humanity. We need to continuously figure out how to deal with new problems that are continuously arising, especially since we're getting new technology and new philosophies and new ideas, and so we need to evolve.
Mm.
Everything needs to continuously evolve. You have to let the whole system run like an anarchic yeah, anarchic system. So a one government system, it would be a complete disaster, would would be the end of
What about just
humanity.
one country?
What
One country.
what about, I don't understand, what's the question?
What about just have one country?
I don't understand the question.
What about we just have one country?
I don't understand your question. What about one country?
Yeah, why don't we just have one?
You mean a single country, the whole world, one country?
Because then you wouldn't have to go through. There would be these retarded borders and shit. You know what I mean?
I just finished explaining that
You can just travel wherever you want.
you have to let you'll have to have different governments so that they can compete,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
countries.
Have all different governments within one country.
That's the current state. You're just playing with terminology. It's now semantics.
No,
So
but just don't have borders though.
you have to let everyone do whatever they want. And countries that don't have borders, like the United States, might succeed and
Huh?
people will move there, and the United States will become a super empire, and that's fine. And then other countries that
No,
will
but what about North America? It's just called the country North America, and then we have like multiple governments within North America.
that's exactly the current state.
No, we have borders in there. Like, don't have any
Yeah,
borders,
not really. Not really. You can
and don't have any
easily.
states. Also, obviously, don't like states are irrelevant.
You
Just have
want to,
one country with multiple governments within that, and you're done.
that's the current state. You're just describing
No,
the
it's not.
current state. What?
No, it's not.
Okay, we're talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So, do, do we agree on everything, or do you guys still
No.
feel different? Feel like maybe I'm not understanding or whatever?
Just remember that your original proposition was that if you're in favor of separating these two people, that you're a racist, right?
It's
And
basically
taking
Jim Crow.
racism to mean
It's basically
it's
Jim
not Jim
Crow.
Crow. Jim Crow was discriminatory. This idea is not discriminatory.
What's the
And on top of
difference?
that,
No, no,
Jim
no.
Crow.
What's the difference? What's the difference between Jim Crow and Arab-Israeli segregation? What's the difference?
Jim Crow did not give black people equal rights for one. So that's one thing. The
Yeah.
second thing is Jim Crow laws didn't exist because some like positive outcome was perceived of it. It was just basically like racist white people saying we don't like having black people near us, right? It wasn't like, oh, crime will reduce if like we separate our races, whatever. It's like, no, that's not why that happened. So that's already two differences. And the
I
third one is the context of how that happened, because if you recall, black people were brought there via slave ships and enslaved, and then finally given freedom, but then like not really having freedom to integrate into that society that they were dragged into. You see the difference? Like everything about that is just completely
no,
fucking different.
no,
It's not
no,
analogous at all.
no, no, no. I don't see it. I don't see the difference. Let's go to the first difference. Let's go one by one. Let's discuss one by one. So, what's the first distinction? What's the most important distinction that you want to
It
discuss?
was discriminatory. The whole
What is
idea that black people were given equal rights while not being allowed to integrate among white people is just not true. So
what
first off,
rights what rights were blacks not given during Jim Crow?
you really want to go through that? Okay, here we
Sure.
go.
My point is that during Jim Crow, the blacks could have done anything in their communities, right? There was nothing that blacks couldn't do, were limited
What?
to from doing within their
But you're
communities, right?
racist. What? You're the racist one.
I'm just discussing facts. I'm not even
You're
giving my,
literally the racist one.
excuse me.
You're the racist one.
I'm not expressing an opinion. What are you talking about? I'm
You're literally the
expressing
racist one here, dude.
what? I don't
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
No, I don't understand. You're not enunciating your consonants and your vowels. You're like saying half words. You have to speak slower. I don't understand your English. It's like
Dude,
you're like speaking
you're
Gaelic.
lit- dude,
It sounds
dude,
like
you're literally the racist one here. What do you mean?
no, I heard what you said, but oh my God.
Glaucoma's here.
Oh my
So,
god.
slave. Let me start by telling you one of the first problems with Jim Crow laws. So, by separating people, you're already putting them in different facilities. And it turns out to be the case that the facilities that were given to black people were far inferior for a number of reasons. They weren't as well taken care of, they lacked as many resources. And on top of that, black people didn't even want to be separated from white people. It was only a one-way thing in that regard, like in terms of who was in favor of the law, right?
Okay, okay, 1 second.
Um,
Slow down, slow down. One thing at a time. There's no point in giving me a list of things. Just give me one. Let's discuss one. So I asked you, what could blacks not do in their own communities during Jim Crow? Name one thing that blacks were limited from doing within their communities
They didn't have access to the facilities that white people did, and the
No,
facilities that they
you
were given were
no,
inherently inferior.
no. Okay, you're not
Yes.
answering. You did not answer the question. I'll ask
Dude,
again.
you're literally saying that Fallen is racist. What do you mean?
I'll ask the question again. Name one thing that blacks were limited from doing within their own communities during Jim Crow, because you want to compare apples to apples, right? You're going to separate the Arabs to their own country from the Jews. So they're going to each, you're not limiting the Arabs, you're not limiting the Jews within their own communities. So I'm saying that that is exactly what happened during Jim Crow, that you had equal but separate. So I don't see
It was not equal. There
the
was
same.
literally redlining that took place. They were prevented
What
from
does
voting.
what
They
is
were paid 3/5 as much. It's not equal. Like, is that
wait?
actually something you don't
Wait,
understand? Like,
you're
what the
not
fuck?
answering. You're not answering the question. I'll ask again. Name one thing that the blacks were limited from doing within their own communities during Jim
I
Crow.
am just going to repeat what I said because I've already answered. They
One, just
lacked
one,
access to
one.
adequate
That's
facilities.
not that's not an answer. Name one
What
thing blacks were limited
the
from
fuck?
doing in their own
All right, somebody
communities.
else have fun talking to this guy. He's just not getting it. Holy shit.
You're not answering. Um, I'm sorry.
I
So
literally just explained like 5 times. It's just the same
one.
answer every time.
So you're
They
saying,
lacked access.
but that's not a thing that they were limited from doing within their own communities. Having a lack of access to,
Yes, it
it's not.
was. Yes, it was.
So they could. So you agree that blacks could do anything they want, just like whites, within their own communities during Jim
No,
Crow.
they couldn't.
Name
No, they
one thing.
couldn't.
Name one thing they were limited from doing.
They literally were separated on buses. Like, what are you talking about? They had to like sit at the back of the bus. Like, what are you talking about? The buses operate within their communities, right? It's like, what are you talking about? They also were unable to vote half the time
No, no,
because
hold on,
there were
hold on.
specific laws imposed on them that prevented them from being able to vote. Like, I could go into the detail of how that
No,
works.
wait,
It's like, are you
one.
actually denying that black people were given equal rights under Jim Crow? Like, dude, just concede the point. It's obvious.
No, no,
Like,
hold on,
what
hold on.
are you on about?
Okay,
Holy shit.
so we're going to separate the Arabs from the Jews, just like just like the blacks and the whites were separated during Jim Crow.
I'm sorry, are you taking Palestinians' ability to vote away?
Within their own community, they could do whatever they want, just like
I'm sorry,
Dude,
blacks.
if
you're
you're in
literally
the
racist.
is
What?
there like a black president and a white president? That's not how that works. Dude, are
Mr.
you
Slave, you're
actually
racist.
this is insane to me. Like, what is he not understanding? Like, you're actually just taking rights away from black people. You're not doing that if you want to separate Jews and Palestinians. Why wouldn't you say that it's also removing rights from Jews? It wasn't the case that you were removing rights from white people. It was to their advantage at that era. Like, how do you not understand this?
Look, I don't see a symmetry breaker. I mean, you're welcome to try and show me a symmetry breaker. I don't see it. So, as
Oh,
far
so
as
you
I'm
think that
concerned,
black people,
it's
you think that black
racist
people had equal rights under Jim Crow, just to be clear.
within their own communities.
What
Yes.
does that mean? What does that mean under there? Why are you
That
adding that as if it changes anything? What does that
because
mean?
we're trying to compare apples to apples. Blacks and whites could do it was separate but equal. That was the Supreme Court decision, separate
Slave,
but
let
equal.
me tell you, let me tell you what you sound like. That's like saying prisoners have separate but equal rights in their own communities to people who are outside of prisons. It's just that inside of prisons, here's what it's like. It's like, dude, what? If that's what you're defining community as, just like your location, or I don't know what the hell you even mean, then like,
No,
okay, yeah, within
no,
their own communities, within
no,
prisons.
no,
Cool. Like,
no. Prisoners within prison. are limited from doing things that people outside of prison are not limited from doing. So there is a
Oh, just like
symmetry.
how black people are limited from doing things that people
Like what?
outside of white facilities
Like
are
what?
able to do.
Like what?
I literally just explained five
Like
million
what?
times,
No, you
bro.
didn't.
This is
You
insane.
no, you need to
Yes, I
give me.
did.
Okay, okay. So here, let's start. So a white person
Oh
wants
my god.
to. Wait a minute. Hold on. A white
Yo, by
person.
the way, Fallen, the reason he's saying this is because he wants you to yell at him because he's Mr. Slave.
No. So a white person, let's talk about a white person and a black person going through their day in their own separate communities during Jim Crow. So a white person can live in his own house. A black person can live within his own house. A white person can get married to a white person. A black person can get married to a black person. A white person can have white children. A black person can have black children. A white person can go to a white school. A black person can go to a black school. A white person can create a white business. A black person can create a black business. A white person can create a white university. A black person can create a black university. I can go through the whole list of a white and a black during Jim Crow. There was no limit. It was separate but equal. There was no law set limiting blacks in their communities.
Yeah, there was. They were given
Name one.
inferior facilities. Slave, let me give you an example.
Hmm.
Just let me talk for a while so you could understand.
Just give me
If the
one point.
facilities that black people were
What
given
facility? Give
were
me an
all
example.
just
What facility? What
let me talk.
facility?
Let me talk.
What facility? Give me an example.
Schools,
What
for example,
facility?
schools. The schools were much worse. Let's see. Also, like
Well,
places where
no,
they went out to eat.
no. What's
Also,
your
like the
evidence?
vehicles that
What's
they
your
would transport
evidence?
on.
What's
Just
your
about
evidence?
everything.
No, what's your evidence? You said black schools were worse than white schools. Present your evidence.
What's the what's the evidence that schools at the time that were given to black? Okay, so you want me to go through like an article about that or something?
Scientific study, obviously, with data. Are you talking?
I'm typing because I'm looking for a source for you now.
Dude,
Okay,
Mr. Slave, what's wrong with your fucking website, man?
nothing. What is wrong with it?
It's terrible. I gotta give you some lessons.
Okay, lesson
I can
learned.
coach you, man. $500 an hour. If you want
Wow,
coaching,
that's what my
I can show
mistress
you web.
used to
No, I can show you how to make
charge.
an actual website with fucking Webflow.com. Visual Code Editor.
Oh, I remember looking at your website. I was not impressed.
Yeah, I haven't used my website in a long time. It's a fucking lot better than yours. What are you on? Are you delusional?
I doubt
What
it.
the fuck? At least my
My we-
website's fucking clean.
my website is
Fucking clean.
perfection.
Yeah, what? It looks
My,
like fucking when I was in preschool drawing shit.
my website, I don't see the issue with my website. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're
It's
having.
just how like you don't see the issue right now in this debate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, is Mr. Schmiegen Gain still streaming?
Are you even vegan, dude?
Of course I'm vegan. By what? By which definition, though? What's your
You weren't
He's
definition?
not
vegan
vegan.
before.
What's your What's your definition of
So you
Schmieg?
only
I'm Schmieg.
obviously this isn't if you're vegan, but do you only eat plants?
I want to be Schmiegen. Can I be Schmiegen?
Or why are you dodging?
Okay. What's the
Do
question?
you only eat plants?
No, no, I don't only eat
What the fuck
plants.
else do you eat?
I eat poop, obviously.
So
My
you eat
favorite.
plants and poop, that's it?
No, I also eat carcasses of rotting animals.
Did you kill them?
No, not personally.
Did you fund people to kill them?
No, I just punch the thing on the website of Costco, and the meat just shows up next to my door.
Oh, so you're a piece of shit.
No, I eat
You're
shit.
worse than a Nazi
Actually,
then.
I would share a
The-
screen, but I can't. So I guess I could send you the link to this article, but I could read off this part because
No,
it's important.
you need scientific data. You cannot read an article. I need data.
What do you mean
I need.
scientific data? This is a source from like actual Iowa laws that were
Oh,
written
okay.
during Jim Crow times,
Oh,
and an
okay.
examination of those laws in summary.
Hmm.
And it also has with it an analysis of the jobs occupied by black people at the time. So, for example, in the 1900s, when 90% of all blacks lived in the former Confederacy, 6 of every 10 employed blacks labored on farms, mostly as sharecroppers, perpetually in debt to the white landowners to whom they gave a share of their crop as rent. Almost 3 in 10 blacks, mostly women, worked in domestic services as cooks, housekeepers, I don't know how to say that word, and nursemaids for white children. More than half of all Southern white families employed a black girl to cook and clean. Most of the remaining 10% of black workers were laborers in shops and factories. Only 2% held professional jobs, serving the black community as
Oh,
teachers,
fuck.
doctors, and ministers. So
Yeah,
clearly, they were not given equal job opportunity. They
I
were
didn't
constantly
say.
in debt to
I
white
didn't.
landowners.
Nothing to do with my contention. I
What?
asked you. You said that their schools, their facilities, their schools were inferior. I asked for a scientific study to back that claim up.
Yeah, and this is a result of the school. It says at the turn of the century, the basic curriculum of black primary schools reflected the jobs open to black workers. In 1900, 190%, and that's where I read from. The schooling they got resulted in those job differences and the debt that they owed to white landowners and stuff like that. It's very clear how it disadvantaged black people in a very significant way. Like, what are
Yeah.
you not understanding?
Wait,
Like, here's the thing:
let me ask you.
if you segregate people and you say, oh, but they're going to have their own communities and they do what they want in their communities, and one of the communities just gets prisons and you just keep them in prison, and then the other community gets to roam free, like, would you say, well, within their own community they're doing whatever they want? It's like, what? It's not their community anymore if they're under a law that's not controlled by their community.
What's
That's
the
not how
law?
that works.
What's the
Whereas in
law?
the case of Palestine and Israel, if you're in your own country, you make your own laws and do your own thing.
What's
There's
the
just so
law?
many differences. Like, the fact that you're
What's
comparing
the
that to
law?
Jim Crow is obviously ridiculous.
What's the law in the Jim Crow that limited blacks in their own communities?
Huh?
Name the law in Jim Crow that limited blacks in their own communities. Name the
Again,
law. Mm-hmm.
again, it
Mm-hmm.
was the segregation itself that allowed them to build schools that were inferior for black citizens. And that caused an unequal opportunity in jobs. Do you understand that?
So if you segregate, would you say that the schooling in Gaza is inferior to the schooling of the Jews in Israel?
I have no clue, but I don't think the Gaza Strip should be a thing at all, period. We should wipe that thing off
Right,
the
but
face of the planet.
no, yeah, so I'm trying to prove to you that you don't have to go to such extremes. You have to understand the mechanics. And you have to understand that your offer to segregate the Palestinians is exactly what happened in Gaza. And that's exactly what's happening now is the result of people like you who didn't go through the analysis, who just jumped to a segregation and they just
Why should
assumed.
Palestinians have the right to go to like Tel Aviv, Israel for schooling? Why should they have the right to do that? Israel could do whatever they want.
As long as a Palestinian behaves as a loyal citizen of Israel, I don't think that the
How
Israelis are
would
going
you
to.
be able to trust them?
I mean, if he salutes the flag and maybe even
Doesn't mean
serves it,
shit.
no, okay, fine. So you give him, you tell him, okay, now you can go live in a Palestinian village, and for a time we'll see how you behave. You can track a person, see how they behave.
Doesn't mean shit.
No, no, you can look if look. It's enough that a person stands in front of the television, for example, on live television, and salutes the Israeli flag and steps,
Fuck
for
does that
example.
even do?
No, 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 no. That's very because people in Gaza get executed for for any misbehavior towards the Hamas government. So
Yeah.
if a Gazan Palestinian stands on live television and spits on the Hamas flag and salutes the Israeli flag and wears a uniform with the Israeli flag on it, I mean, he's taking a chance on his life. So obviously, I mean, I would submit that he is even a better model citizen than any Jew, because Jews don't take a chance on their
No,
lives
not
when
really.
they, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doesn't mean he's going to be a good person.
Oh, yeah,
Just
oh,
want to
yeah.
read this. Jim Crow schools, which taught their students only those skills needed for agricultural work and domestic service, fit the needs of the white economy and society. Booker T. Washington reflected the reality of the situation facing Southern blacks when he said in 1915 that white men will vote funds for Negro education just in proportion to their belief in the value of that education. That is a book. That is a Booker T. Washington quote from 1915. The only value to a white landowner in educating black children lay in their ability to pick cotton or wash laundry. Any
Mm.
education beyond the rudiments of literacy and figuring would not only be wasted on them, but it might encourage them to seek higher education, which would make them unfit for working on white owned farms and in white homes. Wow, it's almost like Jim Crow was actually discriminatory and trying to force people into certain lines of work in favor of the white race based on race. You see how that's not at all analogous to like Israel doing something like saying stay out of our country
Let
in
me ask
comparison
you.
to the United States, who, by the way,
Let
like
me ask
brought
you.
those people over by slave ships, enslaved them, and
Let,
then they fought for
you're
their freedom. And
changing.
then like that's what you
No,
do.
no,
You see how stupid that is, slave?
no,
Like,
no.
are you serious?
No, we're talking about the school system. So, but listen. So you're saying that the black schools were inferior to the white schools in Jim
Oh
Crow?
yeah, 100%,
What's your
100%, absolutely.
what's your evidence to that? What's your scientific evidence to back that claim up?
Uh, the people who invented the laws don't even deny it.
Deny what? That they created an inferior schooling system?
That Jim Crow schools are designed to teach their students only those skills needed for agricultural work and domestic service, specifically the black schools. They don't even deny it. What are you insane? Like everybody knows this. This is common knowledge in the US. Where do you live? Like, what the fuck?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Did Were blacks limited from creating a different school system for their children in
Yes,
Jim Crow? They were limited? They
yes,
couldn't?
yes. Yes, they were.
There was a law limiting blacks from teaching their children anything extracurricular?
Yes.
Like, give me an example. Like, what could they not teach them? I don't
There
know.
are
Like,
many specific laws around that time. Now, because I'm not an expert, I can't name it off the top of my head, but I could go searching for all the individual laws, part of Jim Crow laws that facilitated this, right? Like I
wait a
could do
minute.
that.
Okay, you need to do that. Otherwise, you have to retract your claim.
Well, no,
So,
it's already statistically true that we
no,
could see here.
no,
Yes,
you just
it's
conceded.
statistically true that the jobs that
No,
black individuals had at that time
no,
were mostly agricultural jobs,
no, you
right?
just conceded that you never did the research vis-a-vis the quality of the
That's not what I
schools.
conceded.
You
That's
just
not what
said
I conceded. I said No, I said because I'm not an expert on the topic, I don't have these laws on the top of my head. But if
So,
you want me to pull up like these specific laws on this, I could do that.
okay, so
Right?
I'll ask.
You understand the
So
difference?
I'll ask. Okay, I'll ask again so that you can bring me your scientific data. So the question is, give me the law that prohibited blacks from teaching their children anything extracurricular. I'll repeat if
What do
you
you mean by
want.
extracurricular?
Something beyond the school that they were forbidden from teaching their children and something beyond what they were learning in school. That's your claim.
Well, let's see here. There was some sort of law passed after something called the Plessy decision that actually took place in 1930. And this caused more black children to attend schools in Jim Crow states, stayed longer in school, and earned higher scores on achievement tests. So after some law was passed in 1930, apparently, based on something called the Plessy decision, I don't know what that is. I'd have to read into that.
So
It
let
actually did allow them to obtain schooling for whatever things you might be talking about.
then then you have to concede.
What do you mean I have to concede? I have to concede what?
Okay, so I'll ask the question again. Were the blacks legally limited from teaching their children anything extracurricular during Jim Crow?
Yes.
Okay, give me an example. How were they limited? Give me the
It's,
legal
it's just the case.
example. Legal.
It's
I
just the
asked
case that the schools at the time. I
legal.
don't know what exactly the legal examples
Legal
are because I'd have
example.
to
You have
like
to
look it
show
up.
me the law. Okay, fine. Then you have to concede until you show me the law. But the question is, show me the law, the Jim Crow law that prohibited blacks from teaching their children anything extracurricular. Until you show this, you have to concede. Once you show it, we can continue the discussion.
Here's a statistic I could show you. White schools got
No,
over 3 times the
no,
funding of black schools.
legal.
Is that like
No.
relevant? Is that relevant? No?
Mm,
3 times the funding for white schools than black schools at the time? No?
I don't know. We would have to look into it. You mean per student?
Yeah, absolutely. In Jim
The,
Crow states that stretched from Delaware to Texas, local school boards spent almost 3 times as much on each white student as they did on blacks. The funding disparities in the Deep South states, where blacks outnumbered whites in hundreds of rural countries, were far greater. Alabama spent $37 on each white child and just $7 on those who were black. That sounds like fucking almost 5 or 6 times as much.
okay,
It's like
all right,
5.2 times as much.
okay, but they were not limited legally from pursuing any extracurricular
Holy shit,
education.
slave. Whether or not you think something is on the books, does that change the fact that white schools were getting 3 times as much funding? Like,
You
it is the law of segregation itself that created this situation that made these schools get 3 times as much funding, putting them
you
in
could
this
tell me
downward chain reaction spiral of having less power because they have less educated people
you
to
could
correct the
tell
laws.
me
You don't see the problem there? Are you insane?
you could tell me that black schools were not funded, and that would still be irrelevant to our discussion. You could
It
because
actually absolutely is. What are you
so
talking about?
look, what I'm saying is the segregation that you're seeking between Arabs and Israelis is identical to Jim Crow. So
Bro,
you're going to
bro,
get
you said separate but equal. And black teachers during the 1930s were far below the pay grade of that of white teachers,
that-
despite the fact they were
that's what
teaching the
that's
literal same curriculum.
that's
Are
what
you
you
insane?
that's what you're going to get
You look like a clown right now.
Basically, that's what you got.
Mr. Slave, you're literally racist and you
But
have random fucking girls as your profile picture in this retarded
yeah,
website.
and anyway, it's been over an hour, and it's time for me to kill myself. I
Yeah, dude,
can't.
you just got fucking owned, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Did you ever hear
How
of
old
the
are you?
3/5 law that like blacks should be paid 3/5 as much as whites, and their vote only counts 3/5 as much as whites? Like, does that sound equal, Slave? Like, are you insane? Like, look, you're not from the U.S. You don't know the history behind the U.S. and what Jim Crow laws actually are. All right.
Where is
It
he
wasn't
from?
even just segregation, which in and of itself is problematic for the reason that the segregation took place, given that there was actually no advantage to blacks to be segregated from whites. It was actually disadvantageous, as we can see. But it's also that they were discriminated against. The laws were used to take advantage of them. Like, you realize that, do you not? It's
Uh,
insane.
I
Like,
actually,
Once
I
again, you need to show me evidence, scientific.
anyway, I really have to go because I can't go on
Yeah,
with being
there
so
you go.
long. No, but listen,
So,
wait. So Fallon, I noticed that you were.
Fallon, what?
What do you mean? I was
Did
talking
you
to
just say
Fallon.
Fallon?
His name is Fallon? What's his
Oh
name?
my god,
Fallen?
that just proves it right there.
Fallen? Fallon? I don't know. What's his name? I don't know what his name is.
Fallen. What do you think?
Folan? Dot Folan? Dot Folan. Anyway, so I heard you debating Schmiegen pants the other day. Do you remember?
I don't know who that is,
Mm,
but what
Schmiegen
about it?
pants? Vegan pains, vegan gains.
Oh, vegan gains. Yeah, what about that?
So how did you get his attention? What do you do to get his attention to debate
What do
him?
you
He
fucking
was
mean? Dude, you just go in the waiting room.
in Yeah, he was in the Discord. If you see
Oh,
him in the debate room, that means he's on Discord. He doesn't always
oh,
do it while streaming. I just saw him in
He's
there, and so I just jumped in.
he's literally gonna
oh.
kick you straight away, Mr. Slave, if you say anything. Like, there's no point because he just.
I
I think he is.
I debated him once. It's not really a
Yeah.
debate. It's not a debate if you host the debate. You cannot be the host and debate if you're the host. That's like it's more of it's an interview. It's not a debate.
Yeah, so you're racist. You got these retarded women. Like, who the fuck even are they, dude? Why do you have them as your profile picture?
Good question. I'm gonna have to sleep on that. Anyway, guys. Oh wait, there's tea time
How old are you, dude?
message.
Where are you from?
I'm excruciatingly old. Tarted
Where are you from? Because
proposition.
you're not American. You don't like. You're not definitely not from New York.
I am from far away, from a different planet.
Oh, you're
Wait,
from Europe.
let me send a message to tea time. Tell Schmiegen Pants to debate me.
He's not
Schmiegen
going to debate
Pants.
you unless he's streaming.
Oh, he stopped streaming? Oh, he stopped the
Why would he go out of
streaming.
his way just to debate you?
Oh, you're right.
Are
Okay,
you
next time.
delusional?
Okay, next time.
If you see him in the what's it called
Yeah, you said in the debate room.
debate room, yeah, if
Yeah.
you see like his profile or account in there, that means he's on Discord.
Oh, okay, okay.
Messaging something in tea time's not going to do anything.
Oh, okay, okay. No, it might because someone might pick it up and
You're delusional.
give him money, give him
No
a
one's going to do that.
donation.
You're delusional.
It's not worth addressing.
You're
Grinko Bear. I don't know who that is. He's not one of the people on the stream. He's not one of the donators, contributors. Anyway, Fallon,
Dude, just
I
listening to you, I'm losing brain cells. Like
I'm
your voice,
sorry.
dude. And the way you like your tone and how you act.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I understand.
Dude, stop, stop. Just be a normal
Wait,
human,
your
dude.
name is
Please.
Jackson Skrypek? What is a Skrypek?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the meaning of the Skripek? Is it like a scrotum?
What?
Is
It's
it?
my fucking last name.
Oh, you have a last name. Fascinating.
Yeah, well, no fucking shit. What else do you think it was?
Did you know that Mr. Slave is actually an oxymoronic name?
What?
Yeah. Mr. is actually master. So my name is Master Slave, which is
How would
impossible.
that be master? What do you mean?
The word Mr. is just master in some other
But how
language.
would that work? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And maybe
It's
what? What?
it's just funny how like these people exist, you know.
These people, well, okay. Anyway, I gotta go now. Thank you so much, Fallon. I appreciate your time. I enjoyed the
Alan,
conversation. Fallen? Phelan? Phallic? His name is Phallic?
you're fallen.
Guy you met on the internet. How about that?
Oh, okay, that's a good name. All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you. Bye. All right. I'm out of there. I gotta go. It's already late. It's 1:20 a.m. I should go to sleep. All right, everyone. This was a very interesting debate. I really enjoyed it. So until next time, have a great rest of your life. Bye bye.